Are you looking for valuable business advice to reach that 7-figure revenue mark? Do you want actionable tips to properly navigate through every business challenge you encounter along the way? Let Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch be your guide in getting you to the top here at Service Business Mastery. Tune in as they sit down with world-renowned authors in business, leadership, and personal growth who share valuable insights about management, marketing, pricing, human resources, and so much more. Let their nuggets of wisdom gold guide you in owning a thriving, profitable, and ever-growing business. Here are your hosts, Tersh and Josh.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a wonderful day. That's for you, Travis. So today we're talking to Francis Lupien. Did I say that right?
Francois. We practiced.
I practiced this too. Man, I'm sorry, Francois. So we're going to talk about procrastination and the way that we can kill it. But before we get talking about that, Julie and I, we've been talking about this. She has drill this weekend, and so it's kind of top of mind. And we're talking about working out, and she said that I should start doing lunges to stay in shape, and that, you know, that'd be a large step forward. Okay. A lunge. It's a large.
We got to work.
Forward.
We got to work on that. We got to work on your jokes. I got it.
Whatever, Josh. So anyway,
that was pretty bad.
We are going to talk about procrastination, and I've really been putting this off. Where are
That's
you
when you're supposed
today?
to hit the button. That's where you're supposed to hit the button.
I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
Oh man. So we all procrastinate. I do it more than a lot of people do. And so I'm excited to talk about ways of getting rid of procrastination and just knocking it out of my life completely. The challenge that I face, honestly, is that, you know, prioritizing things and making like, am I procrastinating, or am I, you know, putting other things ahead of this? Like, is it really procrastination, or is it prioritization? And I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Josh?
You know, that's a hard one for me too, because I do try to prioritize things, but I also know there's times when I should do something and I don't. And I have a list, and I usually do my best to make lists, and then I'll cross stuff off, and then stuff will sit on the list, and I either don't want to do it, or it's something I just am just kind of dragging my feet to do. So I'm interested to hear on how we can kill procrastination, because this is always something. I think there's always something more important in business and life to do, right? Like, oh, there's a phone call. I got to go. I got to go. You know, the wife asked me to do this, or my technician asked me to do this. I'm going to go do that instead. Put out fires, because that's easy, right? You just have to react. You don't really have to think, plan, and put together a process for it. So I think Francois is going to help us get a little closer, especially as I mean, right now it's starting to become slow season for HVAC and some contractors that maybe do a lot of work in the summer. So this is a great time to stop procrastinating and get those processes, get those other things done in your business that are really going to move you forward for your next busy season.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really like about Francois is he's not just talking in theory. He actually has a construction company. So he's put these things into practice. So that's really, I mean, take what he's saying to heart, because he's been in our shoes. He's in our shoes. So, I mean, one of the things that I have is my calendar. I always have my calendar open on one of my monitors here. But honestly, I'm afraid for the calendar because its days are numbered.
You're really working hard today.
You're welcome. Welcome to the show, Francois.
Hey, good to be here. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'm sorry you had to listen to that.
That's interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you hesitate that you think you can't do something, get over it. You can.
Exactly. You might have a critic like Josh, but I mean, go for it.
Uh,
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Francois.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, I'll start with family. I'm father of 6 and married to the love of my life, and it's going to be 30 years in 12th of October. So that's
oh, congratulations.
first thing. Yeah,
That's
thank
amazing.
you. Yeah, it is
Wow.
amazing, and it's a blessing. I married up. I was lucky.
I think we
She's
all
a
did
great,
here in
great
this group
woman.
here.
Absolutely. And so sales a lot of my life, and always heart-centered is something that is characteristic of me. If it doesn't come from here, then it's not worth doing. I found out that you can climb the ladder of success, and if you're not heart-centered or the way that you want to serve people, when you get to the top of that ladder, you're going to realize you're on the wrong building. You have to come back down and put
Very
that
true.
ladder on something else. And that something else, I don't care how old or how young you are, put it that's centered towards heart service, the people. If you serve the people right and from the heart, your business will take off regardless. That's a for sure thing. A little bit about me. I'm a Canadian champion in Taekwondo. I love sports. I'm 60 years old. I don't know if those of you who do Wim Hof, but with his exercise of breathing, he's got Wim Hof. Oh, I see a blank stare. I don't know about Wim.
Sounds
He's the
like
Iceman.
a dance to me.
He's
Well,
the
Francois,
Iceman.
how do we not talk about Taekwondo before the show? I saw that on your bio earlier, and I totally forgot to ask you about it. I was actually in Taekwondo for 25 years. I traveled all over the U.S. I went to
Right
Canada
on.
a couple times.
Cool.
So I can't believe we didn't talk about that. Now we're going to talk about that after the show.
No problem. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I did that for quite a while. Not 12 years, I believe, that I did. Yeah, full intensive.
Awesome.
Yeah, Taekwondo is an amazing sport. I love it. And so, as I said, Wim Hof. So Wim Hof's the Iceman, breathing guy. And so I like to push myself all the time. So the most I hold my breath for is 4 minutes, 7 seconds.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's just through the exercise of Wim Hof. And so I do racing motocross with my sons. We have a very active life. I have a construction company, and I do mindset business coaching to help people double, triple, 10x their income, and even make their yearly income become their monthly income.
That's
and if you think that's impossible, well, that's because you're thinking it. Because I did it, and I show people how to do it as well. I did it with my construction company, actually. So that's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Basically, serving others is what I love.
Has it always been that way?
No, that's
or
awesome.
Is that something that you purposely developed? I mean, did it come natural to you? Because I struggle with this sometimes, because like I know that I want to serve people more, and sometimes I feel like, oh yeah, I'm a great servant right now. I'm serving others. I'm doing a great job, and then other times I'm like, where did I go? Like, where my path just kind of went wrong, and sometimes it's very much not natural. It's like, I know that I need to do this, but it's not something that's coming natural to me. Is that? Can you dive a little bit into that? I know we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I just thought of it.
That's fine. Actually,
rabbit
service might be something that was from my family. My father was a doctor, anesthesiologist, so therefore you need to serve. And I remember him working 80 to 100 hours a week, saving lives. That's what he did. And he said something also that might be good for each and every one of us. As an anesthesiologist, that's the people that, they tells bad stories and people fall asleep before operation. No.
Or bad jokes.
And so basically puts people to sleep. And sometimes, unfortunately, some people don't make it out. And I remember that affecting my dad a lot. But he was saying, he says, if I concentrate, and this is a key point, if I concentrate on the failure of what happened, I might actually quit what I'm doing. But if I start looking at the good that I've done, how many lives I was able to save because of the knowledge that I have to help people prepare for the operation and make the operation a success, then I start to be enthusiastic about what I do. But he also said that in life, whatever you decide to do, there will be ups and downs. They come with the choices that you make. So live with it and focus on the good that you can make rather than the mistakes that you did. Because if you focus on those mistakes, it'll stop you dead in your tracks. So focusing on the good that you can do.
That's something that we can all take away from, and I personally can take away from this, if nothing else, and that's it within our business. Julie and I talk about this a good bit. Like we were even talking about this morning, honestly, and it's the way that I, as the business owner, get bombarded with negativity, and it's just the negative distractors, the detractors, as Josh put there. That I feel like sometimes it's like, geez, like all I get is the negative side of things. I don't get and I don't even focus on the positive side. And that's the thing that she's always saying to me is like, yeah, we talk about the negative things, but you got to realize all the positive things that are happening. I'm like, yeah, but what about all this negative stuff over here? And that definitely hit home there.
Actually, if I may just jump on this is something that unfortunately has been ingrained into each and every one of us from childhood going to school.
That's
when
true.
you go to school, what happens? In school, if you're not ready, if you don't perform high, you're either dumb, you're slow. Dare I say, they say you're stupid, according to how much blunt the teacher is, or the students around you. And so there's this stigma about trying something. And if you fail, then you get repercussions that are not pleasant, such as if your marks aren't good enough. Well, you can't go out no more. You can't play soccer. You can't play baseball. And you have to stay home. And then we get to hate failing. So from that stems a lot of procrastination because we don't want to do it. Why would
That's
I do it?
That's a great segue.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Couldn't have done that better ourselves.
You right off on it. Boom. There's a home run for you right there.
That's so true, though. I mean, I never thought about it that way, but it's one of those things like you don't ever want to be that one in front of the class and feel stupid. So you don't try. And then not trying leads to not having future successes because you just get stuck in a comfortable zone versus pushing yourself. That's very interesting that you bring that up with the school system. So I guess we just all homeschool our kids, right?
Yeah, we did 12 years.
Man, see, that's why you're bald right there. I'm gonna tell you. That's why I'm bald. You're a better man than I am. We tried homeschooling for a little while.
It's not easy. Actually, my eldest one never went to school until university, and when she did, she had a 4.0 average. It cost me Zippo to send her to school, so that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, whenever after homeschooling our children, we did it for a year, and after doing that, whenever the teacher would say, "Hey, look, we need an extra packet of paper per kid," I sent 4 packs of paper per kid. Like, you're getting 4 times whatever you ask for, because I understand completely what you're going through. Don't even hesitate. That's what I tell them beforehand. I was like, if you need anything at all, don't hesitate to ask, because I will gladly give it to you. Because I've done that, and I only had 4 kids at the house. I didn't have 20 kids in my room constantly. So yeah.
Actually, just to build on what you have just said as far as schooling, and I work with Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, worked with him for 13 years. And I was a lot into the school industry, and doing that at some point in the States, you have this thing called No Child Left Behind. And that has bit you.
Oh yeah.
Big time. And one of the things that I used to do, and you can hear a fly after I say this is Ministry of Education, anybody, we're in the room, and I say, so let's start a business together. Come with me and let's start a business, a construction business, and we're going to build houses. And so now, because we're very frugal, we're going to take only 50% of the material and build the foundation. And then once that foundation is built with 50% of material, we're going to build the first floor. And that first floor, we're going to build with 50% of the material. And then, because, we're frugal, we want to save some money, right? And so the second floor, 50% of the material. Anybody here has an idea what's going to happen?
It's going to collapse.
It's going to collapse. And so welcome to No Child Left Behind. If you got 50%, you pass.
Yeah.
That's why there's so much kids at teenage that just let go. I'm not doing this no more. Well, we've done it to them. And when I finish saying this, you could hear a fly in the room.
Yeah.
Because that's not the way to do it. So therefore, everybody that's home service based, Give 100% all the time.
Yeah.
So that the business that you have done with your HVAC, for example, or plumbing or electrician, and you've done the best job that you can, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years later, it still holds. And guess what people say? Oh, you want HVAC? Call Church, call Josh, or whoever. Call you, because you've done a good job.
You become the expert.
Absolutely. And the go-to person, the person that people trust, because the work that you've done, does it cost more? Maybe on the onset, but after that, it's coming in drives, more referrals because of what you have done. So it's and coming back to my dad, because he influenced my life a lot. He said, in life, you have choices. You can make it hard at first, make it hard, and it's going to be easy for a long time. Or you can make it easy at first, and it's going to be hard for a long time. So decide to pay the price. And that's one of the things to do to overcome procrastination. Make it hard at first. And by that, I mean just repetition again and again. Like Tersh saying Francois 5, 6 times before we do the show, and then you call me. But that's okay.
I'm sorry about that. My bad.
No, I'm just using this as an
I
example.
know.
But one of the things you did is you took action, and that's okay. Once we take action, we can then correct, because we are moving. I like to say that God cannot steer a parked car. Keep moving. Even if you're going the wrong direction, you can be steered back into the right one because you're moving. If you don't move, then you're stuck. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And that's definitely
You're giving me some great comments for social.
Yeah,
These are great. I'm just typing whatever you're writing.
whatever you say. That's it really
only I can type faster.
It's true though. I mean, because I was just moving vehicles around yesterday. I have a couple project cars, and they'll run, but it's one of those things where if you don't crank it up for a while, it just wants to fight with you. And so like I was trying to pull one of them, and it was like not running, and I'm like trying to turn steering wheel. I'm like, oh man, screw this. Like it's definitely true. It's very difficult and challenging to steer a parked car for that's for dang sure. So the three steps.
Yeah.
Can we dive into that a little bit? Because we're liable to talk for an hour and not even talk about procrastination. We're just going to procrastinate about talking about procrastination.
Procrastination, the silent killer, actually. It kills so many good ideas, dead in their tracks. And and one of the best ways, the step one of this for me, is you need to have clarity. Unless you have clarity, what are you doing? Where are you going? What matters? There is nothing in your life that'll be achieved unless you have clarity. So all of you that are service-based businesses, how much money do you want to make this year? How many clients do you want to have? I'm going to push the envelope here. Your HVAC company. And so there's heating system and air conditioning. And then there's those docks that you do, right? I'm not too sure 100%, but does that make sense? Say yes with your head.
Yep.
Okay.
You're on the right page.
So I'm going to say, okay, so you want to sell, I don't know, 100 furnaces and 200 air conditioning units. And then you say, Francois, you're not in my business. How can you tell ahead of the time which machine or how many of you going to sell? I just come in and I serve people. That is right. But you're not clear about what it is that you want. Therefore, it's not happening. If you're waiting for the outside world to bring things into your life, you're going to wait a long time. Or your bank account is not going to reflect the potential that you have. What do I mean by this? If you go on a trip and you use this little guy, it asks you 2 things: where you want to go and where what? Where you're from. Where are you now? Where are you now?
Yeah. The destination from where you're coming.
I didn't know where he was going with that one.
Yeah.
But the thing, and then also it asks you, are you walking, cycling? Are you by car or by plane? It has those little icons. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, that's your job. Where is it that you're going? But where are you now? And so it is important to assess where we are now before we want to go where we're going. And so that clarity comes to the point that if you know how many, for example, air conditioning units you want to sell, and the jobs that are coming in, or the referrals, or the ads that you're putting out, because you need to advertise, ladies and gentlemen. Newsflash, if you don't advertise, no one will know you're there. And so tweak them towards what it is that you want. And the more clear you are about the things that you want, the more they'll start to happen. The more they'll start to happen. And so by doing it this way, when Tersh, you were saying, oh, it's amazing. Sometimes with procrastination, I want to do something and things keep coming at me and they're coming at, I got to dodge them and then address only the important issues. But when you're doing this, you're reacting. And that's because there's not enough clarity. When there's clarity, I'm very visual, as you can tell. When there's clarity, when things come at you, you say, hold on, is this helping me achieve where I want to go? No. Out. You don't need to take more time. And something else comes. Is this helping me going where I want to go? Yes. Do it. Do it now. Yeah. And so that simple thing is going to help you so much. But it starts with clarity. Unless you're clear as to what it is that you want, what you truly want, then anything goes. You said that your agenda's time is count because their days are numbered. Well, those numbers need to be filled. And they need to be filled with clarity of things that you want to have happen. And you put it into your calendar. You do this thing. And the more clarity you have, the easier it is. Now, it's an exercise. And most of you are going down to a slow season right now. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And so now is the time to plan and get clarity. You talk about a calendar. Get yourself those 12-month calendar and start to plot what it is that you want to happen each and every month. How much money you want each month to bring. How many jobs there is. And start to visualize these things and put them in paper. It does two things. Once you're in your head, or when you're in your head, everything is all over the place and it's hard. But when you take what you have in your head and you put it on paper, then you can look at it. And when you can look at it, now you can make intelligent decision based on the goals that you want, the clarity that you're seeking. Unless you're clear, then procrastination will bite you for the rest of your life. That's number one. Does that make sense? Clarity?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yes, it does.
Number two, chunk it down. Chunk it down.
Chunk it down. I like it.
Let's make it easy numbers for math purposes. Let's say that you want to do $120,000 net in your pocket by the end of the year. Well, that's $10,000 a month. Easy math. So 10,000. What does 10,000 a month look like? If you don't know what it looks like, why will it come to you?
Yeah.
If you cannot explain to a potential client how the air conditioning thermostat that has a 0.5 variation on the mechanism to start and stop the air conditioning is going to save them money rather than 2 or 3 degrees, because it taxes the machine so much more rather than to have some stability. And I'm just thinking out of my mind what I'm saying right now, but I think it makes sense.
You're doing pretty good.
And so as you're doing this, then therefore it saves them money. When you can express this properly, you have clarity. When you give clarity to your client, then they believe in you. They want you because you're solving their problems. When you explain people's problems better than they can, they automatically assume that you have the solution. I'll say that again. When you explain people's problems better than they can, they automatically assume you have the solution. Automatically. And you do. Because you know more than them on HVAC or plumbing, electrician, any service-based, home service-based business that you're doing. Yeah. So chunking it down means, what does it look like to do, for example, a $10,000 a month? How many clients are needed for that? How many appointments? How many callbacks? Oh, callbacks. So you mean to have to plan my callbacks? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because it's going to bite you. And so I live in the north, and the construction company that I have, when it gets to be, I have to change it into because I'm Celsius. Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll say it in Celsius, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
8 Celsius, I do not do the business because I do 3-season rooms. And so the caulking, when it's colder than 8 degrees, it doesn't stick. And next spring, I have to redo all these jobs. So what happens is when it gets to be cold, I stop the business. I don't do it anymore. I do something else. Why? Because it's planned and have clarity. I've taken from my mistakes and I implement on it. How was I able to do this? Because first, clarity. Second, chunking it down. Because I've realized that if I'm doing work that I'm going to have to go back to, well, how can I eliminate that? So I don't waste time after. So that's
become more efficient.
Yeah, exactly. And you're planning it out ahead of time, and so it's not a surprise, and that reduces stress. And yeah, I like it.
Absolutely. Number 3, we talk about consistency, and consistency of keyword. Write it down. Action. 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 You need to take action, and by that I mean all the planning, all the chunking down, all the, oh man, I feel great. It's going to be a fantastic year. Unless you take action on it, it's not going to happen. Because I deal a lot with mindset. In my mind, mindset is 95% of your success. And 5% in the way. Oh, it just clicked out. Are we back? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So 95% mindset, 5% skill set. There needs to be a delicate balance in between the two, but mindset is first. Remember an iceberg. The iceberg's got 90% at the bottom and 10% at the top. Well, the things that you can think about is on the top. But under the water is your quote unquote beliefs and programming. Oh, I can't do this. You're listening to me right now and says, how can I plan $10,000 a month? He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know my business. Well, that's your mindset. You are getting in.
Yeah.
Is the hose of abundance is coming towards you and you're stepping on it. I just push you off it so that we can allow that flow to come into your life. He says, it can't be that easy. Well, that's your belief on it. I got tons of clients that are making their yearly income become their monthly income just because they get out of their own way, overcoming that procrastination, being clear on what it is that they want, chunking it down, and then being consistent into taking action. Little segue on that one with the planning. When you're doing your planning and you want to have consistent action, you will need to get a hold of Tersh and Josh and tell them, I need some marketing. Well, that marketing needs to be done on a consistent basis. It's like a pump. You have to prime the pump and then the pump goes. And then if you stop pumping and you don't prime for a while, then you're going to go to the pump and nothing's happening. You need to prime it. So going back to clarity, if you're clear on what it is that you want, if you understand what it is that you need to do the 10,000 a month, then consistently do these things. Now, another segue is to overcome the income roller coaster. I guess it's okay with the light.
Yeah, you're good.
The sun is coming up. The income roller coaster. Well, one of the things that happens is that you're stopping doing the essentials. If you're not doing what needs to be done, then you're not filling in your pipe. And because you're not filling your pipe, you're going to get the income roller coaster. The income's going to go up and you're going to say, all is well, but you didn't do the essentials. The income's going back down. Then you pick up the phone and say, Tersh, Josh, I need clients yesterday. What's going on? Well, what can be? Well, were you clear on your goals? Did you chunk it down? Are you following your plan? Once you follow your plan, it becomes much easier and you stop that income roller coaster. Will it work like this all the time? No, it won't. And people that tell you that, run. It'll be some fluctuations, but you can make it go this way. You can. If you are clear about what it is that you want, you chunk it down and then you take consistent action. A little tip here. Sometimes when the pipe gets full, you get so many appointments that now your day is going crazy and you have no time to breathe. That's okay. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People talks about this, and it says it is planned imbalance. Keyword, write this down. Planned imbalance. That means that at one point, you'll be working way more than you expected. That's okay. Little tip here. Never, ever stop your advertising or your marketing or filling in your pipe activities while you are busy, because then you will hit the income roller coaster again. So you can say, well, I'm so busy. Well, suck it up. That's part of what you want to do.
I do agree on that point, because I mean, here's the thing. Trish and I both been in air conditioning, and even more so for heating. Like, it gets dire. Like, I mean, when it gets cold in Canada, you have to get there. Like, you can't, oh, sorry, I'm not taking calls today, that sort of thing. But if you prepare yourself, you prepare your team, you do these things ahead of time, you can be ready for the fluctuation. But also, like, the jobs that don't necessarily need to be done. Like, there's a guy down in Florida, and actually, Tersh, you know who he is. So in Florida, you think air conditioning, he makes most of his money in the summer. He actually makes more money in the fall, because he puts duct replacement and duct repair jobs and all of those type of things into the fall. He plans them ahead. He tells his customers, you're going to get a little discount. We're going to push it to the fall when we slow down. And he makes more money in the fall, in the winter, than he does in the summer. And then there's no demand. It's actually fun to work. The guys can come to work for 8 hours a day. They make more money, go home. They don't have the crazy.
So I ask a question to everybody listening to this right now, because you were cutting, Josh. I don't know if you were cutting.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Is the fact that, do you think that this gentleman had clarity as to what it is that he wanted?
Yeah,
took
absolutely.
some action and tweaked what it is. So he says, hey, my ductwork, I'm going to do it in the fall. That didn't come by accident.
Yeah.
It didn't come by accident. He planned it. And then he took consistent action onto it. And so hence is one of the secrets to make things happen. Guess what? When everybody is dying, say, hey, there's no money, this guy's making more money than the others because he planned it. Mm-hmm. And when you don't know something, ask someone who does. Ask someone who does.
Well, there's such a huge network out there these days with Facebook groups and LinkedIn and stuff like that, where you can easily talk to people like yourself, where maybe in past years before all the social media stuff, you had no way of getting in touch with people that had this knowledge unless you were paying big retainers, right? Like, you couldn't get this information because it wasn't out there.
Also, you said something, paying big retainers. You have the HVAC business. You have the low-end units, middle, and the high-end. I am sure that the high-end units, although they cost more, in the end cost less. I am sure. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yep.
Because they last longer. They're more efficient. They cost less on the other end. And so therefore, quality costs. And if you believe that because you're good at your trade, you can charge more, guess what? If someone's good at their trade, they can charge more as well. And instead of looking and says, hey, that's expensive, this is my mindset teaching right now. Whoever you are right now listening to this, and you have high-end machinery or services that you offer, and you're going out there and you're telling people, hey, I got the middle and I got the high, and everybody's taking the middle or the low. This is what's happening in your life. I don't know you, but this is what's happening in your life. When you go out shopping and you look at different things and you shop for price, you do. And you say, oh, I'm not going to take the high. Yeah, I'm going to take the middle or the low because, and then you start to rationalize your decision.
Yeah.
So look at me right here. What you put out comes right back. What you put out comes right back. If you buy the cheap stuff, the people want the cheap stuff from you. Make a mindset right now in your life and decide that you will buy the best quality in your life, and your business is going to turn around.
You know what?
Buy the best from you.
That's the same with like service experts and their offerings for the consumers and the homeowners. And I had a conversation yesterday with one of my lead guys, and it was a great conversation, but we talked about this exact same thing. It was very much like, but do they need the high end stuff? Like, well, do they need it or do they want it? Like, and if it's all you're offering, then that's all they're going to purchase. If you're only offering the low end stuff because that's what you would purchase, then that's all they're going to purchase. But if you don't offer it, if you don't present the multiple options for them to make the decision, you're deciding for them. And if it's like you said, if you only purchase the cheapest that you can get because you like to do things with your hands. I've done this myself. Like when it came to working on cars, I enjoy working on cars, or I did more in the past than I do now. But I would change my own oil. I'm like, why would I spend $50 whenever it's only $10 in materials to change the oil? So I'm going to change the oil myself. But now I understand the amount of time that it takes me to find the oil catch can, dispose of the oil, go to the store, buy oil, clean up the mess that I'm going to make whenever the oil spills all over the driveway. Now I'm going to have to pressure wash it. Like, I understand that I can just pay someone $50 or $100 and then I can just leave it there and come back to work and then go back later and pick it up. And I understand that. And I value them doing the work for me. So I understand exactly the mentality that my service expert has. But for me, I think the challenge that I face is getting them to understand it other than experiencing it themselves.
One of the things that can be said, if I may, Tersh, on this is, explaining to the client that you have high-end material and why, and that you used to provide the low-end material. And from that, then you can tell the horror stories that happen with these. You're now educating your client that now they can understand with their minds and with their heart. Because unless you do both, when you're explaining what it is that you do, there's not going to connect. But when there's a connection between the two, then they see, oh, that's why I don't want to buy the cheap stuff, because it's not going to last. Tersh told me about it. Josh told me about this. And so you explained the good stories about the higher quality and how it lasts for way longer. Then they understand. And so you need to do your homework. You need to be educated yourself and then bring it to people. And so people says, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, get someone that can help you do it.
Yeah.
Same concept. If you're good at what you're doing, well, other people are good at what they're doing. So give them business and people will give you business. Remember, what comes out comes back in. What comes out comes back in. Mm-hmm. You don't believe me on this? Let's make it a simple one. Go to the grocery store today and take your cart and start angrily to tell people, hey, move. Can you move, please? Move out of the way. And then bump people in back of the leg and see what your life's going to look like. You say, well, that's like, you see, now everybody's laughing because you understand what you're putting out is coming back. And it might come back like this from people. Hey, stop hitting me.
Wait a minute, Francois. You're not supposed to run into people in the back and their ankles? That's what I do every time I go into Lowe's.
That's just what you guys do down in the South with those buggies.
It's expected. Hey.
But all this to say that illustrate, I'm putting a point into your mind.
Yeah, no, you're right.
That what comes out of you will come back multiplied. That's just not nice words in a nice book. It's a reality.
100%.
And so therefore, try now the other way. And I do this. One of my pet peeves is to leave everyone with the impression of increase. How do I mean? I go in Canada, we have Canadian Tire. That's a hardware store type things. Got lots of stuff. And so I'm waiting in line and I see this lady and she is like mechanically busy and, just like she's not there. And so when it comes to me, it says, good morning. And I always look at their name tag. Good morning, Julia. How are you today? Yeah. And she was good at doing one thing. You know, those scanners, she would scan them each and every time, one shot, boop. You know, like some of them, it takes a couple of shots before she would boop, boop. I go, wow, you're a good scanner. Now she's looking at me like, am I making fun of her or something? I said, no, it's true. So therefore, because people are skeptical of this, compliment. So it has to be genuine. So I said to her, most people have to go a couple of times to scan. I noticed that you're doing every shot. And then she goes, boop, boop. She goes, I guess I do. I says, yes, you do. I says, and that's pretty good. Now she's cracking a smile now. And then I noticed she has a ring. And I says, your kids are lucky. She goes, how do you not have kids? I said, well, you got a ring and you're married, so you have kids. She goes, I do. They must appreciate the things. And then she just stopped. Her shoulders dropped. Yeah. And there's some humans speaking to me here. So I had a conversation with her. I says, hey, I really appreciate all that is that you've done for me today. Wishing you a great day. Well, thank you. Have a great day. And then as I walk away, I turn around. Guess what? The next guy, when she comes, she goes, good morning, sir. How are you today? With a smile on her face. And he goes, I'm doing great. How are you? See, leaving everyone with the impression of increase it creates a wave of momentum that gives good, that keeps going and going. And what that does, look at it again. I'm coming back to this. What comes out will come back. So next thing you know, the phone rings unexpectedly of a client that maybe 6 months ago I gave a quote to and said no. And all of a sudden they're calling me. Why? Because I'm giving room for it to happen in my life. But it starts with self. And one of the things I like, well, some of you are in countries that are cold enough, the wood stove analogy. You have a wood stove and you tell the wood stove, give me some heat, I'll give you some wood. And the wood stove looks at you and says, give me wood and I'll give you as much heat as you want. That's life. So unless you're in a giving mentality of giving and giving, I was reading this morning, Helen Keller says, no one ever got poor by giving. No one. Just give. Keep giving.
It's a great quote.
Yeah, the more you give, the more it's going to come back at you. And so now we're going to come to a closing and it'll shut me out. I don't know. So the key, because I keep this for the end, to overcome procrastination. This is my secret weapon that my high-paying clients get. I'll give it to you right now, to all of you. The only reason you need to do something now, the only reason you need to do something now is the thought you had of, oh, maybe I'll do it later. That's the only reason. If you adopt this little sentence here, your life is going to change on a dime. I'll repeat it. The only reason you need to do something now is the thought that you had of doing it later. That's the only reason you ever need. If you're thinking of doing something later, that means you do it now.
Wow.
And as you develop the habit of doing this, how? By doing it once, twice, 3 times. Tersh, say my name again.
Francois.
You see? See what just happened? Now let's make this full circle. At first, I don't know, I'm not sure. Tried, missed, and now doing it, and now it's coming like boom, it's rolling out of your tongue. Better than my dad.
I will tell you though. I'll tell you this as a fault. I don't know. A lot of people don't even know this. One of the reasons I started doing the podcast was public speaking, and I was terrified of public speaking due to dyslexia. And so every time I see that S at the end, that IS is Francis. I mean, it's every time, and it's the dyslexia, and I have to physically like Francois. And
it's not dyslexia. Yeah. I'll help you, Tersh. It's French, and French is crazy. Sometimes
you
have to say
I was
the S,
say
sometimes
that,
you can't say the S, and sometimes you say the E and you don't. French is crazy. But no, you're saying it. You're saying fantastic. Hey, how about, I see at the bottom it says to learn more, visit howtobecomemore.com. You're going to see, if you ever get to that website, there's a thing that says schedule a call. For everybody on your mastery podcast, this is what usually it's a casual call. I'll make it to the point for everybody from your podcast, and I'm going to help them. I have this proprietary thing called the CURE, CURRE. And the first one stands for clarity. So we'll spend half an hour together free, and I'll help you gain clarity as to where it is that you want to go. And I'm going to poke at you to make sure that that's exactly where you want to go. Number 2, U stands for uncover. I'm going to help you uncover hidden challenges that are right now stopping your growth in your business. And I'm going to give you some solutions. I'm going to do that for the people, because usually that schedule a call on my website is not geared to that. I will do it. There's some questions that you can answer when you schedule a call. Answer the question. It's going to help to direct the call faster when we talk. But I'll bring you clarity. I'll uncover hidden challenges, and I'll give you solutions. And with those solutions, you'll be able to implement them on your own. Or if you want, you can implement with me faster. Regardless, that call will be the best 30 minutes you've ever spent. I can guarantee that. That's for sure. So that's my gift to you for being here.
Yeah, we appreciate that 100%. And it's been a great conversation, Josh.
Yeah, I think Francois, we should just gave him the microphone, just sat back and drank a coffee. I mean, he did a great job by himself.
He did. I wonder why he's in
you were
business
great
to coach people,
Yeah, you definitely know what you're talking about. I think I think we got some value. I didn't show the comments, but we got some comments and stuff from the Facebook and YouTube stuff that people really like the content you were bringing. So I think hopefully this helps someone
Thank you.
figure something out. So after this call, I'm going to go put together my wife's desk because she keeps asking me to do it, and I've been procrastinating on getting that done.
Excellent.
100%. And everybody that's out here that's listening, please don't hesitate. Don't procrastinate. And reach out to Francois. And I hope you have a wonderful day. If you have any other questions that don't pertain to this, don't hesitate to reach out to Josh or myself. And I hope you have a wonderful and safe day until we talk again next time. We'll see you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.